I just turned 19, and this is what 18 taught me. So I can say I learned a lot, a lot, a lot. And I can definitely put responsibility on all my learning from the fact that I made a huge decision at such an early age, around like end of 17, which was to go to college with my girlfriend at the time. You heard that right. I went to college with my girlfriend. That's a story for another time. But from that, I learned a lot of lessons being in a different place, having completely new and different relationships, not being around family, and not having the structure of my home in my old life. So, with that, I was around so much chaos, not completely all negative. It was great, I had fun times at college. But within that chaos of just all meshings of different ideas and different different lives, my grades weren't the best, but spiritually, physically, I transformed myself from that hard time. It was hard. It was a hard time. I hope it can make sense if there was not that much structure and all that. So one thing though that I learned from that is that you can feel a very bad way, but still attempt to do the thing you're trying to avoid. So, for example, the simplest example would just be working out. Let's say running. You really don't want to work out. Like you feel your legs kind of sore because, like, maybe you did the slightest leg day the day before or something, whatever the case is, and like you just have an emotion, a feeling of maybe not today, like I don't really feel like it. You can still physically just run. You can just do it, and like that sounds so obvious, but really in the moment of of having that idea that don't want to do what you should do, you convince yourself that you shouldn't do it right now. Like I'll say in my mind, so make you feel like this has happened to me. I've convinced myself sometimes, of course I didn't because I'm not a bitch, but I've convinced myself that yeah, no, 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 your legs are sore today. Don't run. Like it wouldn't be good for like your overall longevity and your endurance and all that. Bitch thoughts. I was I was trying. My amygdala was trying to make me feel like my feelings were more valid than the thing I was supposed to be doing. Which, in some cases, emotional situations, maybe. Because we're still humans and we need to understand that our emotions are an aspect of our lives. But on top of that, you can't create your feelings as the priority of your life because especially if you're a man watching this, also if you're watching this and you really like hearing just like advice and like game, click the link in the description to like just advance yourself physically. So but emotions aren't everything, in the sense that you need to become somebody that can withstand your emotional turbulence and still do what you need to do. That is being able to feel some type of emotion and not and being able to feel like I can still go and do the thing I want to avoid, even if I feel like even if all my feelings are convincing me that I shouldn't do it. I have a rational mind still. I have my faculties that take me where I need to be. So I don't need to listen to my feelings. There you go. But in certain situations, you can. So use your rational mind and understand, is this situation a logical and uh, solvable situation using my mind and my thought process? Or is it a situation with a lovely girl that is having some trouble understanding your relationship with her? You can see how there's a difference to how you can approach a situation. But as a man living your life, you need to understand that emotions are not to be meant with your 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 goals, your focus, your drive, the things that you're building as a man. Those need to be fueled with the emotions that fuel it, that push it further, not the feelings that say, let's focus on these feelings, as opposed to not listening to them and doing the thing that you're supposed to do. You can see how, like, when you add awareness to the entire process, it makes no sense because we're logical men. So use awareness. That should have been my first lesson, but second is good. Awareness gets you everywhere. What is the rat race? What is a 9 to 5? I'm not going to go all into all that, but what is it really at a fundamental level? Unaware. You're unaware of the life that you're deciding to live. You're not even deciding to live it, you're so unaware. I don't mean to speak to you if that's you, but you understand what I mean. When you live without awareness, you are easily manipulative. You are easily told that something is true and you believe it just because it was told to you by somebody that you see as, okay, they know the right answer. Now, that might be the wrong person. So, we have to gain awareness and see, okay, one, who am I listening to? Like, who am I taking advice from? Who do I see as somebody that is, and you can kind of start critically thinking and say, well, that person doesn't have it fully together, so maybe I shouldn't listen to them. This person does have it together, however, they don't have what I want in life, meaning in terms of goals, say financially, physically, whatever it is. So why would I listen to somebody that doesn't have what I want? Like, why would I take advice from somebody that isn't above me and that can teach me something that I don't already know? All of this goes back to awareness and critical thinking. When you have those two things, nothing can nothing can get to you. To speak on my next lesson, it would probably be be a player of the game and beat it rather than simply playing. So I don't want to get too much into like the whole matrix and 9 to 5, all that, because like that's not really what I'm wanting to like get at here, because that's not the lesson I learned. I mean that more in the sense that life is what you make of it. That's what life is. And it's not college. It's not doing this. It's not listening to that person. It's not falling in love with this. Life is what you make it. It's not Apple is the phone of the universe. No, some guy named Steve Jobs in the 1980s helped create that and bring it to fruition. All of the, like, Steve Jobs even like said this idea perfectly. It's like we live in like a calculated system of just, you're calculated into what you do. It's like we're programmed to believe that these things that we're given all the time are what we are, just is what life is. Like, this is the life. Like, dude, 200 years ago life was completely different. I don't even want to speak on like random stuff, but I just mean like human experience, literal just human experience was completely different. And with all that being said, my point is Life is a game. Of course, we can take some situations more seriously so we can handle them in better ways, but life is a game. Life is a I don't want to say test because that makes it seem like there's a right or wrong answer. No, it is a playground. It is for you to decide who are you going to be? How are you going to write the story of who you are? So, if that's the case, if you agree with me here, if that's the case, then doesn't that mean that there are infinite possibilities of getting what you want or succeeding or doing whatever, finding that end goal or just something to move towards? There is ways that are so much shorter. There are shortcuts, but they're not shortcuts in the way that we think of shortcuts. In a very universal way, I'm very new to this idea, so bear with me. In a very universal way, the short there's you there are universal shortcuts. And when I say shortcut, that doesn't mean that you're cutting corners. No, when you have these universal shortcuts, you can almost see them as like the stars in Mario Kart, where when you eat one, like you go really fast and everything's kind of just bright and starry and sparkly. Those are these universal shortcuts I'm referring to. What are they? Building the habit of drinking a protein shake every single morning for your entire life. That's a very small example, but very powerful in this idea. So let's say, for example, you build the habit of waking up every single day, going straight to your kitchen, grabbing a cup of water, putting some protein powder or milk, putting some protein powder, mixing it, and then just taking it down. First 10 minutes of the day, you got 24 grams, 30 grams of protein just to start. So for your muscle building journey, for every single start of the day for your entire life, you're going to have 24 to 30 grams of protein at the beginning of the day. What does that call for your physical journey? You are going to make so much more muscle than somebody that only takes protein in their meals and then maybe after their workout later in the day they drink a protein shake. You can see how this small example can pivot such a chunk of a journey due to the fact that you just placed something there. This is such a small example, and you'll find a lot more of them if you click the link in the description and get the physical, the whole rundown. But yeah, there are shortcuts that are justifiable in universal terms. There are things that you can do that you can, for example, listen to me and all of my perspectives and advice in the link below. I keep saying that. Maybe I should change up the words. Join the community. But you have these like different avenues of action that you can take. Maybe sometimes they feel a little unconventional, maybe they feel wrong, but there's avenues of different actions that can save you 10 years of mistakes, that can save you thousands of hours of experience. Of course, you should gain experience, but there are different shortcuts that are very, very valid in God's eyes that He allows us to have. Circle back to one of the previous points, but you need to have awareness. You need to have awareness of these different ways of living your life. There's two ways to win a football game. This is an example I wrote down, and I think it's a really good example of understanding this idea of like beat the game or play the game. So there's two ways to win a football game. You can, one, try your best to score as many touchdowns as possible. Run through the defense, run around them, shoulder them in the head. Well, I don't play football, but this is just an example. You can score as many points as possible, or you can sit on the sideline of a winning team. Notice how both are the same result. You won the game. Yay. You get the hot cheerleader in the status of all your friends in school, right? You got the same result. However, one was you deciding, "Oh, I'm going to make the result happen." And the other was you having a bandwagon to the result. So like that's an example in itself that really shows how when you embrace this idea of life is a playground and you can create it however you want to, you're the football player that is running towards the touchdown. But when you live in an unaware state and you think, oh, yeah, it's okay to just let my boss decide my whole schedule. Yeah, it's okay for me to just eat whatever I see on the store shelf because, yeah, whoever put it there knows what to feed me. That's cattle, dude. That's a sheep. It's literally cattle. Like, you trust the box on the shelf because it looks nice, because somebody made it look colorful and shiny. And it says fiber, added protein, whatever the spicy word is for your preferred diet. Be aware of what you consume. Be aware of the ideas that you agree with. Be aware of the person you are becoming. Every single day is a new slate to embody the character that you want to be. However, we are bombarded with distractions. We are bombarded with people that don't want us to have what we want, in maybe a subconscious way, maybe in a conscious way, which is pretty evil. But all this to say, awareness and understanding what you want and understanding life is a game are all lessons that I learned in the year of being 18. Discipline, awareness, logical and emotional balance, letting go of fear of doing it wrong, being rather than trying, living rather than thinking, doing rather than saying, accepting who I am radically. I think the one thing that stops a lot of people from growing is accepting their bad sides. It's not in not accepting their bad sides, of kind of not admitting to themselves that they might be selfish. They might be low key not the best people. I had to learn in college, maybe I'm not the best person. Like I have a very high self-esteem. I have confidence within myself. However, I think it's really good to admit that sometimes you can go overboard with who you believe you are. In kind of, if you know Carl Jung, in a way that you think you're supposed to be somebody. So when you truly convince yourself, it's almost like a pendulum of boom, this is who I think I am. Oh, wait, that's totally wrong. I'm this. Oh, wait, no, but not really. I'm kind of this. It's a pendulum swing of going back and forth of who you think you are. But the more you live, the more you experience, the more you admit your faults and your strengths, your weaknesses, your shadow, the closer and closer you get to who you are. So like you saw at the beginning of the pendulum, we're going up and down. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm an actor. Oh, I'm a singer. Oh, I make YouTube videos. Oh, I'm an engineer. We're all over the place, but the more and more that you move, the slower the movements get, because iteration leads to correction, right? So when you get to a certain point of living, I think a lot of us are needing a lot more time, which is okay. Everybody has their own journey. But this process is admitting to yourself your faults and then integrating them to join you in this journey of your life. When you don't accept who you are, you feel like a partial version of yourself. You feel like I felt that a part of my brain almost had its eyes closed, if that makes sense. My brain that was like understanding this shadow self, this shadow aspect of myself, I didn't want to admit that that was there. Like I didn't want to admit that I was a douchebag to my roommate. I didn't want to admit that I wasn't the best person in a relationship. I didn't want to admit that I had problems with myself that I fully didn't unpackage when I thought I was this grounded individual. Becoming a man has a lot of pride integrated within that. And one thing we have to realize as young men is one, our physical prowess is extremely important. So definitely click the link in the description if you need help on that. And if you just want more perspectives and insight on training and just hard exercise, click the link in the description. But being a man, your pride will get in the way if you don't check it. And that's what happened to me. I was very attached to the person I believed I was. And that led me to ruin relationships that didn't even fully blossom into what they could have been. And I'm not saying I regret any decision or any actions that I did or any actions that other people did, because this is life. We are supposed to learn and grow from the unaware actions that we commit. So I'm saying this not to be like, oh, don't make mistakes. Don't be a prideful man. Oh, be a prideful man. Hold your balls. Hold your balls and take a deep breath right now. Not to get all like manly, because I mean, what I'm trying to get at here is observe your desires to be a man and your desires to be this whole man that your feelings kind of crave you to be, and more, and add more awareness to your daily actions. You'll start to realize and admit to yourself when you're not admitting your shadow aspects. All of this, if you're overwhelmed a little bit, that's okay. Maybe pause the video, take a deep breath, because this is a lot to take in. All of this will be processed after you finish watching this video. All of this information will be processed in your subconscious, and in the following days you're going to feel like you need to reflect. Almost, you need to feel, you need, and I say need as in you're going to feel the desire to need to reflect. If you've been watching this and you kind of resonate with what I'm saying, you've literally been aware of what this is. Like you know what I'm saying if you're watching. the process of becoming your true self is acting, maybe unawarely or awarely, and then reflecting through the emotions of those actions. I hope this video helped you. I hope you gained some understanding of who I am. If you guys want more videos, I probably will keep this channel way more physically emphasized because click the link. But other than that, I really do want to make more videos like this where I kind of give more esoteric, more spiritual knowledge. Because I feel like physicality is really important, but spirituality really needs to be brought back into our daily lives. It needs to be a more casual, more like factual, objective thing rather than this kind of like woo woo. Oh, oh, he's talking about that stuff. No, dude, like I my goal is to make spirituality and your connection with the higher power in like the universe as as casual as Christians make church on Sunday, as casual as Muslims make fasting for Ramadan. I want like the mass populace of I want America to be more spiritually inclined. And that doesn't mean we go back to the hippies days of the 60s where you guys are all just fucking each other. No, more so just everybody loves each other on a human level. We have less crime. We have less people killing each other, not for the fact of any idea that it's wrong, but having a spiritual connection to yourself, in turn being able to connect and love others more. So if you guys want to see more videos like that, comment, like, do that, and I might make a separate account if you guys really blow this up. So do your thing, tell me what you guys want. I might make a second channel if that's what you guys want. Click the link if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.